Welcome to the Family Affair YouTube channel. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love vintage old world pottery. That hand-thrown, one-of-a-kind, cracked and crumbly look just makes me swoon. It also makes my bank account swoon. So I was thinking there must be a way that I can have that look without breaking the bank. If you also love vintage pottery, then you're going to love today's video because I'm going to show you how to make it. First of all, you need a pot. This is just a terracotta pot that I found at a big box store on the clearance section. It has this mint impression on it, which I didn't want there. So we're going to cover it up. Then you need your favorite Iron Orchids Designs decor stamp. You need a dry rag and a can of salt wash or some homemade salt wash if you like to make your own. Then you're going to need a couple of your favorite colors of paint, a bowl of water, and a couple brushes. One of them should be an old chip brush or something that you don't care about because they tend to get scuffed up from the salt wash. So the first thing we're going to do is mix up our salt wash. Salt wash is a product that thickens up the paint and gives it a consistency that gives you a lot of texture to your paint, and you simply mix the powder into your paint, whatever color you choose. I'm going to use white for this pot. And the ratio according to the directions is 1 part paint, 1 part of salt wash, at least for this brand. For the pots though, I kind of just play it by eye. What I'm looking for is kind of a thick brownie batter consistency. So kind of like this. Lots of nice texture. If it gets too thick for you, you can just mix in a little bit more paint. And if it's not quite thick enough, just a little bit more of the salt wash. When I'm painting pots, I like to turn them upside down on my hand. You can just scoop salt wash onto the pot. I'm putting it on really thick here where the decal is that I want covered up, or this embossing. But other than that, you don't need it super thick. It's just going to give you a nice texture like the old pots have, the old stoneware. Now I'm not putting on here super neat. Just kind of spreading it around. And I don't care that there's brush marks. And it's even fine with me if some of the terracotta is showing through in places. Once you have it on there, the whole thing, then you can go back over it and stipple it just a bit with the brush. Just give it the nice texture that you like. I like to put a little bit of glops up around the edges. This gives it kind of a nice chippy look. Okay, once this is covered, you're going to let it sit for about 4 or 5 minutes, just until the salt wash starts to set up just a bit. Okay, it's been a few minutes and my salt wash has started to set up just a bit. It's not hard, but it's not super sticky either now. And then you're going to take your stamp. I'm going to use the Dijon stamp from the Crockery collection. And you dip it in water just to help it release up out of the salt wash easily. And then I'm just going to lay it on the pot on one side because we're going around a circular object. It can be tricky sometimes. So I start here and then I just walk it around, pressing firmly but being sure not to shift. All the way across. Now you can't see it super well while it's in this stage because it's just making kind of a relief in there, and some parts stamped much better than others, and that's fine. I'm looking for a vintage old worn pot. If you wanted it to be a little more even, you could put your salt wash on a little bit thicker and a little bit smoother, smooth out your brush strokes instead of using the stippling, and then it will give you a more even outcome. Okay, so now we're going to let that dry. And so that you don't have to stay here all day, I'm going to move on with this one, which is completely dry. So this one I painted with a light robin's egg blue. And now I'm going to glaze it, which will bring out the details of the stamp. So for the glaze on this one, I'm going to use a light mossy green that I mixed up. And I'm going to use about 50% paint and 50% water so that it's just got a nice glazed look to it. With this too, I'm not looking for complete full coverage. Just get it on there. And then we're gonna go and wipe it back. I wipe it first with the dry cloth, and then I get it damp. I'm going to distress it back a bit there with the damp rag, especially playing up around. And as you wipe, you can do heavier in some areas and lighter in others. What this does is pick up the paint off the high spots and leave it in the low spots, which gives you great shadowing and aging and texture, but it also just really enhances your stamp. So at this point you can simply let it dry and use it as is, or you could put on a clear wax or a dark wax, or you could put on a top coat. I use mine this way. I've used them outside on my plants in the summertime. I've used them inside for houseplants, and I've not had any problems with the finish. Often the ones outside will get a nice moss growing around them, which I love. I hope that you enjoy these pots as much as I do. And if you enjoyed this video, would you do me a big favor and go ahead and touch that like button for me? Helps me know what kind of content that you all enjoy so that I can continue to make videos that are helpful for you. Stick around and I'll have some staged photos of the pots for you to enjoy.